Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. Right here in the live studios in Hythe, Kent, southeast England. Hythe means haven, and it's become a haven since we've been reading every day Srila Prabhupada's books. To you all, we welcome you out there in cyberspace, wherever you are. I was thinking after yesterday's, classic, huge purport by Srila Prabhupada in that practically explained everything about everything, as only Prabhupada can do. He's such a master. That the effect that hearing from Srila Prabhupada has on the consciousness and how important it is that we hear direct from him, his books, cover to cover, one purport after another, one verse and one purport after another, in order to get a sense of the scope of the body of knowledge that we're beginning to swim in. If we can learn to swim in this ocean, then we can be free from fear and all other inauspiciousness. And one aspect that I was thinking of is how it changes our consciousness. Because when you hear something about how the universe is created and how it goes on, what the laws of nature are, and you look out at the world with that through the lens of that knowledge, through the lens of that expanded consciousness, then we are so much better situated, free from ignorance, free from anxiety, free from fear, free from pettiness, free from all these other inauspicious material qualities that Lord Brahma was forced to create at the beginning of the cosmic manifestation, the material manifestation. Yeah, we should really be counting our blessings every day. So this Sri Caitanya-caritämrta is extremely special, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as I've been reading every day, I want to keep reading it so that it goes deep into our consciousness. It's poetic, it's not to be taken literally, and I don't want anyone running around saying, oh, Kesha Bharati Maharaj said you can give up the Gita and give up Srimad Bhagavatam and only read Caitanya-caritämrta. No, that's not what we're saying. It's not what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying. But he is saying that how beautiful and how important and how powerful the Sri Caitanya-caritämrta is. He says it in this poetic way. In due course, Mahapralaya, devastating floods, will inundate the entire universe. If you attempt to survive by swimming in that deluge, then do not neglect to take hold of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. Or if you cannot hold all three, then release Bhagavad Gita. If necessary, you may also relinquish Srimad Bhagavatam, but under no circumstances release your hold on Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. For if this one book remains, then the flood can do no actual damage, because after it has subsided, the message of Shastra can be revived from Sri Caitanya-caritämrta alone, it being the essence of all Shastra. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityänanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityänanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityänanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. So we've reached text 23 of the 5th chapter of the Ädi-lilä, the glories of Lord Nityänanda Balaräma. Lord Krishna manifests his own form in Mathura and Dwarka. He enjoys pastimes in various ways by expanding into the quadruple forms. Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha are the primary quadruple forms, from whom all other quadruple forms are manifested. They are all purely transcendental. 25. Only in these three places, Dwarka, Mathura, and Gokula, does the all-sporting Lord Krishna perform his endless pastimes with his personal associates. 26. In the Vaikuntha planets of the spiritual sky, the Lord manifests his identity as Narayana and performs pastimes in various ways. 27 and 28. Krishna's own form has only 2 hands, but in the form of Lord Narayana, he has 4 hands. Lord Narayana holds a conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower, and he is full of great opulence. The Shri, Bhu, and Nila energies serve at his lotus feet. Purport. In the Ramanuja and Madhva sects of Vaishnavism, there are extensive descriptions of the Shri, Bhu, and Nila energies. In Bengal, the Nila energy is sometimes called the Lila energy. These 3 energies are employed in the service of 4-handed Narayana in Vaikuntha, relating how 3 of the Alvars, namely Bhuta Yogi, Sara Yogi, and Branta Yogi, saw Narayana in person when they took shelter in the house of a Brahmana in the village of Gehali, Tirukotvalur. The Prapanamrita of the Sri Sampradaya describes Narayana as follows. Tarksha dirudam tadid ambudadvam Lakshmi dadam bhakshashi pankajaksham hastadvaye shobita shankachakram Vishnum dadrishur bhagavantam ajam ajanu bahum kamaniya gatram parshvat dvaye shobita bhuminilam pitambaram bhushanabhushitangam chatur bhujam chandana rushitangam. They saw the lotus-eyed Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, mounted on Garuda and holding Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, to his chest. He resembled a bluish rain cloud with flashing lightning, and in 2 of his 4 hands he held a conch shell and disc. His arms stretched down to his knees, and all his beautiful limbs were smeared with sandalwood and decorated with glittering ornaments. He wore yellow clothes, and by either side stood his energies, Bhumi and Nila. There is the following reference to Shri Bhu and Nila energies in the Sitopanishad. Mahalakshmir Devashasya Bina Bina Rupa Chaitana Chaitanamika Sa Devi Trividha Bhavati Shaktyatmana Ichcha Shakti Kriya Shakti Sakshach Chaktir Iti Ichcha Shaktish Trivida Bhavati Shri Bhumi Nilatmika. Mahalakshmi, the supreme energy of the Lord, is experienced in different ways. She is divided into material and spiritual potencies, and in both features she acts as the willing energy, creative energy, and the internal energy. The willing energy is again divided into 3, namely Shri, Bhu, and Nila. Quoting from the revealed scriptures in his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, 4:6. Madhvacharya has stated that Mother Material Nature, which is conceived of as the illusory energy Durga, has three divisions, namely Shri, Bhu, and Nila. She is the illusory energy for those who are weak in spiritual strength, because such energies are created energies of Lord Vishnu. Although each energy has no direct relationship with the unlimited, they are subordinate to the Lord because the Lord is the master of all energies. In his Bhagavad Sandarbha, text 23, Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu states, the Padma Purana refers to eternally auspicious abode. The Padma Purana refers to the eternally auspicious abode of Godhead, which is full in all opulences, including the energies Shri, Bhu, and Nila. The Mahasamhita, which discusses the transcendental name and form of the Godhead, also mentions Durga as the potency of the Supersoul in relationship with the living entities. The internal potency acts in relation with his personal affairs, and the material potency manifests the three modes. Quoting elsewhere from the revealed scriptures, he states that Shri is the energy of Godhead that maintains the cosmic manifestation. Bhu is the energy that creates the cosmic manifestation, and that Nila, Durga, is the energy that destroys the creation. All these energies act in relation with the living beings, and thus they are together called Jiva Maya. Text 29. Although his pastimes are his only characteristic functions, by his causeless mercy he performs one activity for the fallen souls. 30. He delivers the fallen living entities by offering them the four kinds of liberation: Salokya, Samipya, Sarshti, and Sarupya. Purport. There are two kinds of liberated souls: those who are liberated by the favor of the Lord, and those who are liberated by their own effort. One who gets liberation by his own effort is called an impersonalist, and emerges into the glaring effulgence of the Lord, the Brahmajyoti. But devotees of the Lord, who qualify themselves for liberation by devotional service, are offered four kinds of liberation, namely Salokya, status equal to that of the Lord; Samipya, constant association with the Lord; Sarshti, opulence equal to that of the Lord; and Sarupya, features like those of the Lord. Text 31. Those who attain Brahma Sayuja, liberation, cannot gain entrance into Vaikuntha. Their residence is outside the Vaikuntha planets. 32. Outside the Vaikuntha planets is the atmosphere of the glowing effulgence, which consists of the supremely bright rays of the body of Lord Krishna. 33. That region is called Siddhaloka, and it is beyond the material nature. Its essence is spiritual, but it does not have spiritual varieties. Text 34. It is like the homogeneous effulgence around the sun, but inside the sun are the chariots, horses, and other opulences of the sun god. Purport. Outside of Vaikuntha, the abode of Krishna, which is called Paravyoma, is the glaring effulgence of Krishna's bodily rays. This is called the Brahmajyoti. The transcendental region of that effulgence is called Siddhaloka, or Brahmaloka. When impersonalists achieve liberation, they merge into that Brahmaloka effulgence. This transcendental region is undoubtedly spiritual, but it contains no manifestations of spiritual activities or variegatedness. It is compared to the glow of the sun. Within the sun's glow is the sphere of the sun, where one can experience all sorts of varieties. Text 35. As through devotion to the Lord one can attain his abode, many have attained that goal by abandoning their sinful activities and absorbing their minds in the Lord through lust, envy, fear, or affection. Purport. Excuse me. As the powerful sun, by its glowing rays, can purify all kinds of impurities, so the all-spiritual personality of Godhead can purify all material qualities in a person he attracts. Even if one is attracted by Godhead in the mode of material lust, such attraction is converted into spiritual love of Godhead by his grace. Similarly, if one is related to the Lord in fear and animosity, he also becomes purified by the spiritual attraction of the Lord. Although God is great and the living entities small, they are spiritual individuals, and therefore as soon as there is a reciprocal exchange by the living entity's free will, at once the great spiritual being attracts the small living entity, thus freeing him from all material bondage. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 7.1.30, text 36. Where it has been stated that the Lord's enemies and devotees attain the same destination, this refers to the ultimate oneness of Brahman and Lord Krishna. This may be understood by the example of the sun and the sunshine, in which Brahman is like the sunshine and Krishna himself is like the sun. Purport. This verse is from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.278 of Srila Rupa Goswami, who further discusses this same topic in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Purava 5.41. There he refers to the Vishnu Purana 4.15.1, where Maitreya Muni asked Parashara in regard to Jai and Vijay how it was that Hiranyakashipu next became Ravana and enjoyed more material happiness than the demigods, but did not attain salvation, although when he became Shishupal, quarreled with Krishna, and was killed, he attained salvation, and merged into the body of Lord Krishna. Parashara replied that Hiranyakashipu failed to recognize Lord Nrsingadev as Lord Vishnu. He thought that Nrsingadev was some living entity who had acquired such opulence by various pious activities. Being overcome by the motive passion, he considered Lord Nrsingadev an ordinary living being, not understanding his form. Nevertheless, because Hiranyakashipu was killed by the hands of Lord Nrsingadev, in his next life he became Ravana and had proprietorship of unlimited opulence. As Ravana, with unlimited material enjoyment, he could not accept Lord Rama as the personality of Godhead. Therefore, even though he was killed by Rama, he did not attain Sayuja, or oneness with the body of the Lord. In his Ravana body, he was too much attracted to Rama's wife, Janaki, and because of that attraction, he was able to see Lord Rama. But instead of accepting Lord Rama as an incarnation of Vishnu, Ravana thought him an ordinary living being. When killed by the hands of Rama, therefore, he got the privilege of taking birth as Shishupal, who had such immense opulence that he could consider himself a competitor to Krishna. Although Shishupal was always envious of Krishna, he frequently uttered the name of Krishna and always thought of the beautiful features of Krishna. Thus, by constantly thinking and chanting of Krishna, even unfavorably, he was cleansed of the contamination of his sinful activities. When Shishupal was killed by the Sudarshan Chakra of Krishna as an enemy, his constant remembrance of Krishna dissolved the reactions of his vices, and he attained salvation by becoming one with the body of the Lord. From this incident, one can understand that even a person who thinks of Krishna as an enemy and is killed by him may be liberated by becoming one with the body of Krishna. What then must be the destination of devotees who always think favorably of Krishna as their master or friend? These devotees must attain a situation better than Brahmaloka, the impersonal bodily effulgence of Krishna. Devotees cannot be situated in the impersonal Brahman effulgence into which impersonalists desire to merge. The devotees are placed in Vaikuntha Loka or Krishna Loka. This discussion between Maitreya Muni and Parashara Muni centered on whether devotees come down into the material world in every millennium like Jai and Vijay, who were cursed by the Kumaras to that effect. In the course of these instructions to Maitreya about Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, and Shishupal, Parashara did not say that these demons were formally Jai and Vijay. He simply described the transmigration through 3 lives. It is not necessary for the Vaikuntha associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to come to take the roles of his enemies in all the millenniums in which he appears. The fall down of Jai and Vijay occurred in a particular millennium. Jai and Vijay do not come down in every millennium to act as demons. To think that some associates of the Lord fall down from Vaikuntha in every millennium to become demons is totally incorrect. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the tendencies that may be found in the living entity, for he is the chief living entity. Therefore, it is natural that sometimes Lord Vishnu wants to fight, just as he has the tendencies to create, to enjoy, to be a friend, to accept the mother and father, and so on. He also has the tendency to fight. Sometimes important landlords and kings keep wrestlers with whom they practice mock fighting, and Vishnu makes similar arrangements. The demons who fight with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the material world are sometimes his associates. When there is a scarcity of demons and the Lord wants to fight, he instigates some of his associates of Vaikuntha to come and play as demons. When it is said that Shishupal merged into the body of Krishna, it should be noted that in this case he was not Jai or Vijay, he was actually a demon. In his Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Srila Sanatana Goswami has explained that the attainment of salvation by merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord cannot be accepted as the highest success in life, because demons like Kamsa, who were famous for killing brahmanas and cows, attained that salvation. For devotees, such salvation is abominable. Devotees are actually in a transcendental position, whereas non-devotees are candidates for hellish conditions of life. There is always a difference between the life of a devotee and the life of a demon, and their realizations are as different as heaven and hell. Demons are always accustomed to being malicious toward devotees and to killing brahmanas and cows. For demons, Merging into the Brahman effulgence may be very glorious, but for devotees it is hellish. A devotee's aim in life is to attain perfection in loving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who aspire to merge into the Brahman effulgence are as abominable as demons. Devotees who aspire to associate with the Supreme Lord, to render Him transcendental loving service, are far superior. Text 37. Thus, in the spiritual sky, there are varieties of pastimes within the spiritual energy. Outside the Vaikuntha planets appears the impersonal reflection of light. 38. That impersonal Brahman effulgence consists only of the effulgent rays of the Lord. Those fit for Sayuja liberation merge into that effulgence. 39. Beyond the region of ignorance, the material cosmic manifestation, lies the realm of Siddhaloka. The Siddhas reside there, absorbed in the bliss of Brahman. Demons killed by the Lord also attain that realm. Purport. Tamas means darkness. The material world is dark, and beyond the material world is light. In other words, after passing through the entire material atmosphere, one can come to the luminous spiritual sky, whose impersonal effulgence is known as Siddhaloka. Mayavadi philosophers who aspire to merge with the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as well as demoniac persons who were killed by Krishna, such as Kamsa and Shishupal, enter that Brahman effulgence. Yogis who attain oneness through meditation, according to the Patanjali Yoga system, also reach Siddhaloka. This is a verse from the Brahmanda Purana. Text 40. In that spiritual sky, on the four sides of Narayana, are the second expansions of the quadruple expansions of Dwarka. Purport. Within the spiritual sky is a second manifestation of the quadruple forms of Dwarka from the abode of Krishna. Among these forms, which are all spiritual and immune to material modes, Sri Baladev is represented as Maha Sankarshan. The activities in the spiritual sky are manifested by the internal potency in pure spiritual existence. They expand in 6 transcendental opulences, which are all manifestations of Maha Sankarshan, who is the ultimate reservoir and objective of all living entities. Although belonging to the marginal potency known as Jiva Shakti, the spiritual sparks known as the living entities are subjected to the conditions of material energy. It is because these sparks are related with both the internal and external potencies of the Lord that they are known as belonging to the marginal potency. In considering the quadruple forms of the Absolute Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, the impersonalists, headed by Sripad Shankaracharya, have interpreted the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra in a way suitable for the impersonalist school. To provide the intrinsic import of such aphorisms, however, Srila Rupa Goswami, the leader of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, has properly replied to the impersonalists in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita, which is a natural commentary on the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra. The Padma Purana, as quoted by Srila Rupa Goswami, in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita, describes that in the spiritual sky there are 4 directions corresponding to east, west, north, and south, in which Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha are situated. The same forms are also situated in the material sky. The Padma Purana also describes a place in the spiritual sky known as Vedavati Pur, where Vasudeva resides. In Vishnu Loka, which is above Satyaloka, Sankarshan resides. Maha Sankarshan is another name of Sankarshan. Pradyumna lives in the Dwarkapur, and Aniruddha lies on the eternal bed of Shesha, generally known as Anantashaya, on the island called Shvetadvip in the ocean of milk. Text 41. Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha constitute the second quadruple. They are purely transcendental. Purport. I think this is a very long purport. Check it out.
Looks like a pretty long purport.
It's a really long purport. I remember this purport. Now in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is going to disassemble the Mayavad philosophy, the impersonalist philosophy, and establish that Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha are eternal personalities, and that they are actually not different than Krishna. They're Vishnu Tattva. Now this is a very long and very elaborate purport with a lot of highly sophisticated philosophical concepts and deep explanations. So I want everyone to turn up their antennas, their receptive antennas, wake up, stand up, run around the room for a few minutes while I sip on this tea and get my voice back. Thank you. I'll be right back. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Okay. We're not going to have time, I don't believe, today to go through this whole purport. So I'm in 2 minds whether to start it today or stop today and discuss what we've heard so far, and then again take it up tomorrow and do the whole purport tomorrow. It really helps with this purport to hear it contiguously without going over 2 different days. And you could all, if you want, read it before, sometime between now and tomorrow, when we read it out loud. You can read it and get a sense of it, so that when you hear it, it may help you. Lights may go on, as they say. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop today. My voice is a little husky, but also I had a very, very heavy day of work for the RRP, the panel I'm working on for the BBT. I'm having to read a lot of things, and I'm having to write a lot of things, and I'm having to think a lot of things. And I've been in the chair for about, I'd say 5 to 6 hours. So I'm way, way over my quota for sitting in a chair. And I still have to remember to take care of myself, even though I'm feeling much better. I have to remember to take care of myself so that I'll be strong when the day comes, when I have to go under the knife. Okay, I'll stop here and let you all meditate deeply and have your reflections and whatever you want to do. Hare Krishna. I think I caught them off guard. Stopped too early. They weren't ready for it. Or maybe there's nobody out there today. I hope not.
21 people.
Huh?
There's 21 people.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, anybody out there got anything for us? You got anything for us? Let's go.
Rati Manjari says we are here.
Rati, you're there. Boy, I'll tell you, that is consoling. Now that is consoling.
She says,
I mean, you don't have. I'm not like forcing anybody. If you don't have any reflections today, that's fine. Also,
something from Dayal Nitai Prabhu.
Dayal Nitai, can always count on Dayal Nitai for reflections.
He says, please accept my obeisances, Srila Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Jai Ho. Hare Krishna, Dayal Nitai Prabhu Ki Jai.
He says, there wasn't any mention of Navadvip Dham or Jagannath Puri in Vaikuntha. How can I understand where they are situated?
Well, Navadvip Dham is in the rectangular area that surrounds Gokula or Vrindavan, the center of the whorl of Goloka Vrindavan. This is just to give you an idea of what it's like. It's not that you go out and stake out. It's not like the material world where you get out your, what do they call those things that are on a tripod and they look through transom? Anyway, they measure exactly what the angles are, and spiritual world is not like that. But it's, to give us an idea, it's a rectangular shape and it surrounds the whorl, and that area around the whorl that's within that rectangular shape is called Shvetadvip, and that's where Lord Chaitanya resides, and therefore that's where Navadvip is, the eternal Navadvip. And Jagannath Puri is in between Dwarka and Mathura. There you have it, folks.
Something from Rati Manjari.
Okay, Rati.
She says, Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Tonight we heard the story of Shishupal and how he was liberated. To be honest, I am a little confused by hearing that he was actually a demon. I've always thought that they were Jai and Vijay, taking 3 births as demons. Could you please explain how this explanation is consistent with the one more common?
Well, he is the third of Jai. But sometimes when there are descriptions of different acharyas about these pastimes, they are talking about the pastimes that happened in another millennium or in another yuga or in another day of Brahma. And in that case, just like we heard already, that Krishna comes yuge, means in Bhagavad Gita, yuge means every millennium, every yuga, he appears. But it doesn't mean that Krishna comes in his original form every yuga. We also know that he appears in the 28th Divya Yuga, in Dwarka, in the Dwapara Yuga, the beginning and end of the Dwapara Yuga, in the 28th Divya Yuga, in the day of Brahma, of the Manvantara Vivaswata, the 7th of the Manus. There's 14 reigns of Manu in one day of Brahma, and 7th means that it's halfway through the day of Brahma. So sometimes there are descriptions which describe the same pastime happening in a different millennium or a different day of Brahma. And that's why sometimes they don't appear to match up completely. That's the explanation. But the other explanation is, by our acharyas, is that when it describes, or another explanation is, that when it describes that Shishupal merged into the body of Krishna in the presence of everyone, that was very significant, because it showed that Shishupal actually became attached to Krishna, even though he was very inimical throughout his whole life. By chanting Krishna's name, remembering Krishna, the original form of the Supreme Personality of God, and not the Vishnu form, then he became purified by that. And when the Sudarshan Chakra that Krishna finally released after he was allowed, due to one benediction he got from Krishna, that he could blaspheme him 100 times without getting any reaction, then Krishna just casually waited until he finished his 100th, and then the chakra came out. And as it was coming to Shishupal, our acharyas describe that he actually became attracted to Krishna in that instant of time. And therefore, he merged into Krishna's form to show everyone that he actually was attached to Krishna. But in reality, from there, he went back to Vaikuntha Loka, because that was the end of the curse. But then another idea, or another version, or not another version, but another explanation, is that he appeared again when Lord Chaitanya came, when Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya, as one of Jai or Vijay. I don't remember, Jagai and Madai, I don't remember which one he is, but he's one of them, in order to get Krishna Prema directly from Lord Chaitanya. So these are the mysteries of Krishna's pastimes. And we can't expect to understand them all. He's unlimited, we're limited. There's no way we can understand them all. But as we become more and more qualified by our submissive devotional service and our intense endeavor to understand over many years or even many lifetimes, then we will become, it will be revealed to us from within the heart how all these things can exist simultaneously. That's the basic explanation.
She says, thank you. I see there can be different versions of the Leela in different yugas.
That's right.
The only type.
And even sometimes, if the Leela is described by one person who has a particular relationship with Krishna, he sees it one way, and another person looking at the same Leela with a different relationship with Krishna will see it in another way. How to understand that? Well, something can be happening in a room, and a little child can come in and look and see the forms and what's happening, but they won't be able to understand. Maybe they're fighting, and maybe he thinks they're playing because he's a kid. That's what people do. That's all he does is play. So like that, it's also possible that different, even liberated souls or even associates may explain a same pastime in a different way due to their different relationship with Krishna. They see it a little differently. And like that, the spiritual world is unlimited. We shouldn't try to make it limited by our limited intelligence. At the same time, that doesn't mean we can just make things up either. These are deeply knowledgeable and liberated souls who describe these things. Anything else?
Something from Prabhupada Priya Devidasi.
Hey, Prabhupada Priya, Hare Krishna. I didn't know you watched these things. Live, I mean.
She says, everyone has a unique relationship with Krishna, and it seems that some devotees have a relationship which appears to be antagonistic, like Bhishma Dev, or they might play an antagonistic role, like Jai and Vijay. What relevance does this have for us in our relationships with Krishna? Does Krishna give some devotees a hard time and others an easier one? Could this be a part of their eternal relationships?
No. He doesn't have those kinds of relationships inimical, where they fight each other and kill each other in the spiritual world. That doesn't exist. That's only in the material world. But Krishna has the sporting spirit. The example is given that, and we heard it in one of the purports today. Sometimes a landlord or a big king will keep a guy that he fights with for enjoyment, just for enjoyment. And the guy knows he can't beat the king. If he does, he'll probably get his head cut up or something. I don't know. That's just a joke. But still, the king gets to enjoy his proclivity for sporting. So Krishna's like that. He has a proclivity. He likes to fight. He fights with his cowherd boys, but that's not like the same kind of fighting. It's not like life and death kind of fighting. So sometimes when he feels like doing that, he needs somebody to fight with, and there's nobody in the material world that can give him even a close fight. All these descriptions of his going into battle and by himself killing thousands and thousands and thousands of warriors without even working up a sweat. Sometimes he sweats, but he looks like he sweats anyway. But effortlessly. He never has to put any effort into anything that he does. It's effortless. That's why he's always seen to be smiling. All the paintings, he's smiling. All the descriptions of him, he's smiling. Or he's, what is that, prahasan? There's a verse in the second chapter, in the beginning of the second chapter, where Arjuna asks Krishna to pull up the chariot in the midst of both the armies, and in that verse the word prahasan is there, which means smiling. Even though Arjuna's completely in anxiety, Krishna's smiling. He never gets anxiety. So maybe I'm a little bit freewheeling here a little bit, not answering the question directly, but the fixed relationship that we have in our relationship with Krishna is not changeable like that. There's no inimical feelings in our original relationship with Krishna. That's why Jai and Vijay had to come down and take the birth as demons 3 times in order to give Krishna that opportunity to disport and to kill them for his pleasure. But they get purified by doing that. They get purified of the curse. It's Krishna may arrange the curse, actually. They never could have cursed. This was all arranged by Krishna. There's one of our acharyas who comments that one time, either Jai or Vijay, they did some mistake when the goddess of fortune went out and then came back, or something like that. And by that mistake, she felt ill feelings, and therefore they had to go through this experience. You have to be very careful how you deal with the goddess of fortune. Did that make it any clearer? Did I make things more confused, or did I help? Does it help?
She hasn't written anything yet. There's something from Daitya-hari.
Daitya-hari-hari. Daitya-hari-hari.
He says,
Daitya-hari-hari.
He says, really nice class again, Maharaj. I always get confused by the hierarchy of Vishnu expansions from the spiritual world to the material world in the matter of creation. It is said in the last purport that Maha Sankarshan is another name for Sankarshan. Is there multiple expansions of Sankarshan that perform different functions? And what's the difference between Sankarshan and Sheshanaga? I understand they're all expansions of Balaram, but what do they specifically?
Well, Shesha is an expansion of Sankarshan. The original, first is Balaram. He's the original Sankarshan, or the original Sankarshan. Well, not exactly the original Sankarshan, because when Baladev is in Mathura and in Dwarka, that's the first Sankarshan expansion. Balaram is Balaram, but in his original form with Krishna, his pastime incarnation. He's the first expansion of Krishna who thinks he's a servant of Krishna, and he serves Krishna in all kinds of ways in the spiritual world, even maintains the spiritual world. And then when he goes to Dwarka and Mathura and Dwarka, then he's Sankarshan. And from that Sankarshan, that first quadruple expansion, right, who have relationships in the spiritual world as brother, Krishna and Balaram, and then son of Krishna, and then the grandson of Krishna. That's their relationship in the spiritual world in Dwarka. But then from Sankarshan, that first quadruple expansion, and these are all eternal forms. It's not that there's one and then there's the other, or there wasn't one and then there was another. They're all eternal. They're always there. They have different functions, like you're saying. So, from that Sankarshan is expanded what is called Mahasankarshan. That's Narayan. That's another name for the Narayana in the spiritual world. And from him expands the four Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Sankarshan, and Aniruddha that preside over the four directions in the spiritual sky. And from them, there's expansions that go and predominate over all of the planets in the spiritual sky. And from that Narayan, or Mahasankarshan, then Mahavishnu is expanded from him, and he lies in the ocean, the causal ocean, which is between the spiritual and material worlds. And from there, he glances at the material energy. And we heard in this, I'm not sure if I can remember exactly, but we heard that I think that Aniruddha is expanded into Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, and Pradyumna is expanded into, I'm not sure if I can remember the exact ones, I don't remember right now, but I've been working all day with this panel, and my intelligence is a little tired. But anyway, those four expansions, those three expansions are expansions of Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, the three Vishnu expansions. It's also described that Pradyumna and Aniruddha are the predominating deities over the intelligence and the mind. So all these things are there in the Shastra. We just have to keep hearing them, and gradually, after hearing them and over again, we'll remember. And here I am, 47 years later, almost 48 years later, and I still can't remember everything exactly because we're in the Kali Yuga. Nobody has, unlimited memory anymore. We don't have any more Jiva Goswamis and so forth, so on and so forth. Those are special persons. But according to our capacity, we have to understand and we have to explain what we have understood to others, and that makes us eligible to go back to Godhead. Why? Because Krishna likes it. He says in the Gita, for one who explains this secret, his going back to Godhead is guaranteed. No one is more dear. No one can be more dear. And no one has ever been as dear. No one ever will be as dear. So learn this philosophy, read the books, learn and as you go along, preach or explain, teach what you learn, and you will gradually become, you will get Krishna's attention, Lord Chaitanya's attention, and then you'll go back to him when he's convinced that you want to enough. Hare Krishna.
So another thing from Rati Manjari.
Jai Rati.
She says, I was struck by hearing that there are two ways of becoming liberated. One through the mercy of the Lord, and one by one's own endeavor. For a minute I thought that would refer to the sadhana of a bhakta, but then I was shocked to hear that this referred to impersonal liberation. Such a poor result for so much endeavor. Another proof that we need to be guided very carefully by the liberated acharyas in order to reach the goal of our heart's desire.
Yeah, and what it means is that the process, the goal, each goal has a different process, and the process is according to the goal, or the goal is according to the process. So when it says in one's own endeavor, it means that the mystic yoga process is by the endeavor of the soul to control the airs, and there's different ways to do that. So that's what it means by one's own endeavor. But you can only go so far by one's own endeavor. If you become perfect at that, then you can attain impersonal liberation, but you can't go any further. You need the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. In Kali Yuga, you can only get this through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. To get Krishna Prema.
That Yari Hari Prabhu said, really nice reading. Thanks again.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming and being so regular.
And then Prabhupada Priya Devi Dasi is responding. She said, I was thinking that even in an affectionate relationship, one might tease the other one or give them a hard time, but it's loving.
Yeah, it's completely different. There's no, horror stories. Okay, we'll let everyone go now. I need to rest my voice now. And I've still got some more things to do tonight before I take rest in regards to this new service that I've got, which is turning into be a very absorbing, ecstatic, but absorbing and difficult service, maybe the most difficult I've ever had to do, but it's still really important. Tune in for more details about that later, because we're just getting started. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow night, same time, same place, same subject. Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. Sri Caitanya-caritämrta ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. See you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.